Yeah.
Dan, we good? Yep. All right. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Hartford Selectboard on Tuesday, January 9th, 2024 at 6 p.m. This meeting is a hybrid meeting, which means that some or all of the public bodies meeting remotely and some are meeting physically in a previously noticed location where the public may attend to observe, listen, and participate contemporaneously. One member of this public body or other staff is present at the location to ensure the public can participate if desired. Please note that while we strive to provide means for those attending remotely to participate in the public comment period, there may be technical difficulties or reasons that otherwise prevent or interrupt remote public participation. Therefore, it is important to note that the open meeting law only ensures the public's right to participate and comment at a public meeting by attending at the designated physical location as posted in the notice and agenda. If a member of the public or of the public body has technical difficulties accessing this meeting remotely, please alert us by email to selectboard@hartford-vt.org. In the event of a technical difficulty that cannot be resolved, we may continue the meeting if necessary to time and place certain. Please note that all votes taken during this meeting that are not unanimous will be done by a roll call vote in accordance with the law. As required by the open meeting law, let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance of all members participating in the meeting and have those members attending remotely identify themselves to ensure that they can hear and be heard throughout the meeting. Laney?
Laney Collins, present.
Rocket?
Rocket, present. I can hear you. I have spotty Wi-Fi, so no video today.
Okay, sounds good. Allie?
Allie Benjamin here, and I can see and hear everybody.
Mary?
Mary, present.
Dan?
Dan Fraser on Zoom. I can hear and see people. Thank you.
Kim?
Susan, present.
And Mike Hoyt, I am present. We will be modifying our agenda to make sure that we can get staff and other people home given the state of the weather. And I'll talk about that during the order of agenda. Next is the Pledge of Allegiance. Would anyone like to join us? Lead us.
I'd be happy to.
Thank you, Lenny.
I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Lenny.
Thank you for the honor.
Okay, so we will now, we have no local liquor control board business. We will now close this portion of the Hartford Select Board and reopen as the local cannabis control board. We've got two applications before us tonight. The first is for the Hidden Grove LLC. Stephanie, if you want to come up to the microphone and just identify yourself, town, village of residence, and just tell us about the license that you're applying for.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie Waterman. I'm a resident of White River Junction. I am applying for a cannabis retailer license for my company, The Hidden Grove. We are located at 230 South Main Street inside of White River Grow Pro. So it's a store within a store. So we've done that so we can age gate the dispensary and keep Grow Pro open to families, and especially my own family, because my daughter comes a lot to work. Yeah.
Questions for Stephanie? And Kim, you'll let me know if anyone. Oops. Any questions for Stephanie? None, I will take a motion. Kim?
Mr. Chair, I move that the local cannabis control board approve application S-000005167 with the Hidden Grove LLC.
Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second from Mary. Any discussion? Okay, I'll call the roll on this one. Lanny?
Aye.
Rocket?
Aye.
Allie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Kim?
Aye.
And I will vote aye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Stephanie. All right, our next item is another cannabis license. This is for the VBS Farm LLC. Tish, I think you're here, right? So, okay, sure. Just identify yourself and your town and village of residence, and then if you want to just tell us a little bit about the permit, that'd be great.
Sure. So my name is Jason Owens. My wife Tish Owens. We're owners of VBS Farms and VBS Labs in West Hartford, Vermont, at 2170 Wildlife Road. We're applying for a Tier 1 cultivation at our home in West Hartford.
Okay,
at 2170 Wildlife Road, White River Junction.
okay. Any questions for these folks? If not, I'll take a motion. Mary?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the corrected number of the application.
Oh, okay. I move that the local cannabis control board accept, we're saying, approve the license for letter S dash 000005000 VVS Farm LLC.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Kim will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the roll. Lanny?
Hi.
Rocket?
Aye.
Ally?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Kim?
Aye.
And I will vote aye. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, we'll close this portion of the local cannabis control board and reopen as the Hartford Select Board. Order of agenda, given the weather, we are going to do public comment, select board comments and announcements, appointments, except for the appointment of John Reid, which needs to be advertised properly. We will hear from the town treasurer, and then we will take up the resolution necessity for the Firestation #2 bond. So we'll start with public comment.
Were you doing town manager report or no?
Nah, it's something we can. We'll do those. We'll do the last parts that we need to do. But you know, John, unless there's anything really vital that can't wait till the next meeting.
I think not. Give me 1 minute. I will want to remind everybody that warrant information night will take place on Thursday, January 18th at 6 p.m. at the Hartford High School Auditorium. That's a new date. And I think I can stop there.
Okay. Public comment, Dave Briggs. And so for public comment, just come up, introduce yourself, town and village of residence. You have 5 minutes to speak. Please address the select board as a whole and do not engage in any personal attacks. Dave?
David Briggs, White River Junction. Good evening, Happy New Year. Have a few comments as an update, FYI.
Okay.
So to get them right, I'll read them here.
Sounds good.
They do come from me. To paraphrase Mark Twain, the reports of my retirement have been grossly exaggerated. As you know, I've been working on an exit plan of the properties in White River, which I control, the Gates block and the Coolidge block. And I think it's fair to say that you know quite a bit about the nature of this pursuit. I bring a bit of an update for you. I hope the rumor mill does not go in quite the way my recent Facebook post did. It was so curiously misinterpreted. If you are not aware, I mentioned that January 2nd, 2024 is the end of my 39th year at the Coolidge, not my retirement. It gives you a weird feeling like, is there some wishful thinking there? It has come to my attention that the Hartford Energy Commission's been working on a climate action plan. My impression is the vision for this will call for a substantial measure of collaboration and cooperation between private and public resources. I can see that as being very constructive and mutually beneficial. Late last spring, you'll recall, we received notice of a significant potential opportunity via the Northern Borders Regional Commission. But it was concluded that in the absence of a permanent town manager and other priorities, immediate action was not prudent. Meanwhile, my plans have progressed, and there may now be opportunities for added synergies that are somewhat unprecedented. In order to be ready for another year of funding, coupled with what has been realized since the spring of 2023, I'm working to stay out ahead of the concerns raised at that time. As we proceed over this winter of 2024, I foresee mutual benefits from working together. The Planning Commission, the Energy Commission, the Town Manager's Office, and also the Historic Preservation Commission can all look for the opportunity that is possibly ours. I'll be presenting a more complete and vivid action plan that includes bringing in added private sector resources that such work calls for. However, this must be a cooperative effort, and I look forward to confirming that the will of all of us to work together exists. I continue to stand up for the highest and best results for the properties I have been the steward of for many years now. An ideal time seems to have arrived to look at what is forming in as proactive, transparent, and collaborative ways as possible. I hope to be able to be ever more specific and to work with other agencies as areas of mutual interest are confirmed. For me, this is the natural outrun of various initiatives in which I and others have been instrumental in over a span of now decades, including the White River Revitalization Action Plan, that was about 1989, the Downtown Business Association, the formation of the Hartford Development Corporation, the Tax Increment Financing District, and a vast array of community enhancement efforts ranging from River City Arts, which developed the Briggs Opera House and incubated Northern Stage, the development of the quote new courthouse, River City Christmas, the Glory Days of the Railroad, the Polar Express, the redevelopment of Railroad Row, the Hartford Community Coalition, and others. We can do this. Because of that, I foresee the winter of 2024 as being very formative and productive. I realize this renewed clarity delays my retirement, but a hasty departure would be letting both myself and my town down, having come this far. I hope you will be able to see more of what I see and get on board with all of it. With that said, I encourage your questions to me on a routine basis. Please give your staff, have your staff reach out to me as I will be reaching out to them. At your service.
Thank you, Jay.
Any questions that they have to feel?
I think we'll certainly reach out to you in the future, and so will the town staff and department heads. We look forward to collaborating.
Happy to.
Thank you. Okay, more public comment, come on up.
Hey everybody, my name is Justin Pollard, I'm a resident of Wilder. I'm also chair of the Energy Commission. So originally I was going to be here to speak and help out with David's CAP presentation. But first and foremost, I'm here to support Richard Otis's application for the Energy Commission. The second, I wanted to kind of echo off of Dave's comments on what's going on downtown White River Junction. First, starting off with where we are in the energy transition. Many people were sometimes occasionally echoing off political bits from 10 years ago, and given the events of IRA, Infrastructure Act, CHIPS, those are all unprecedented investments in clean energy and climate change action. So in this room today, we find ourselves in mid-transition, right? In this overwhelming march of the energy transition, where we're transitioning from fossil fuels to renewable energy. And 10 years ago, maybe even when the climate action plan was written, renewable energy, to most people's minds, meant solar, wind, storage. And today, most of New England, at least the policy wonks and words like me, are up late at night thinking about how are we going to make winter heating sustainable and affordable. And White River Junction finds itself with a solution on our front door. Right now, there's legislation in the House and to be the state Senate for thermal energy networks, essentially combining geothermal renewable heat with waste heat from, say, wastewater treatment facilities. And we stumbled into this, one, from learning about the proposed bill last year, and then two, exploring that same technology for our wastewater treatment facility in White River Junction. Those conversations that I've occasionally talked to you about turned into a larger collaborative effort, but discussion with large landowners in downtown White River Junction on how those private landowners intend to keep those buildings over the foreseeable future. And after discussing with David Briggs, his redevelopment plans for the downtown area, learning about the courthouse, who's exploring geothermal drilling controls as a feasibility study, and even CCS, who has a grant to redevelop the telecommunications building, finding ourselves in a moment where Hartford could be the first town in Vermont and even New England to explore a clean thermal energy network for this very densely developed downtown area. And this is exactly the utility model that the legislation expected to pass in session is intending to support and enable. And there are synergies with these private landowners' plans themselves. I hope over the next couple of months to continue working with the private landowners, exploring what the state's plans are for thermal energy networks in the state, and collaborate with one NGOs that have already been a part of Dave's plans, Jimmy DC, town staff, and additional legal experts to figure out the best process forward. All I'm asking for the select board is your buy-in, questions, I'm sure you're gonna have many, and support over the next couple of months as we figure out how this might work for the town. And ultimately, if it's public, private, or a blend of both, what needs to change in the charter to enable? And what do you need from me and our coalition of interested stakeholders to answer your questions and make this something new? I could spend the next minute answering questions on what's been done so far, or I can come back in 2 weeks and dive into it.
I think we'll look forward to the presentation in 2 weeks, and we'll have some questions for you. But yes, sounds very promising, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of questions and discussion about that. So,
All right.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you.
Public comments. Looks like we have any more public comment in the room. Is there anyone on Zoom?
Yes. One hand up at the moment. Oops. Go ahead, Mike Morris.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep. Mike Morris, Hartford, Vermont. I'm calling up with a couple of concerns, but one of the ones I have a concern about is this, one of the proposals on the charter. And I wanted to speak about it informational night, but now that's in conflict with the Board of Civil Authority having an abatement meeting that night, so I won't be able to make it. So I wanted to ask if I could find out who on the select board right now is a landlord. And secondly, who on the select board is a renter, meaning they don't own a house of their own, for starters.
People want to answer that question, they can. If they don't, then they don't have to. Okay.
I am a member of a partnership, which is an LLC, which is a landlord in the property where I was a renter for about 15 years up until we purchased the property in 2020.
Thank you.
And I'm a renter commercially.
Lanny, do you want to answer?
Yeah, but I'm a property owner that has no rentals. So
Anyone else wants to answer? Just put your hand up. Mary?
I'm a property owner, no rentals, no landlord.
Fair enough. I am a landlord, and I own my own house.
Did you say you are a landlord?
I am a landlord, yes.
Okay, thank you. Rocket, Alley, Dan?
Not
Yeah.
seeing them.
Can you hear me? I manage a couple of Airbnbs, but I'm not a property owner.
So you rent?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so Ali and Dan, you don't have to answer. If you want to, you can, but then we can move on to the rest of Mike's comments.
I'll answer. I rent. I'm a renter.
Okay.
And Dan?
Dan doesn't seem to have his hand up, so feel free to continue your comment.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. So already I find that the decision to make to put this proposal in the charter about regulating rentals a conflict of interest, because it seems like the majority of the board is either a landlord or a renter. And I find that a complicated, a conflict of interest that you all ought to reconsider this proposal. But anyways, thank you for answering that. Secondly, I know that this board has always talked about transparency in the past. And they want to be open and transparent with everybody. But yet a few meetings ago, I understand from watching the meeting and then talking with both Rocket and Lanny that those two individuals were totally unaware that Dan was no longer attending agenda meetings and Ali was in his place. That's what I hear in the meeting. And I want to know how you expect us to trust you being transparent when it appears you're not being transparent amongst yourself, 7 members. There was at least 2 members that didn't know of this change of agenda meetings.
Okay. Thank you for the comment.
No, it was a question.
Oh, can you restate the question?
Well, I want to know how you expect us to trust you with being transparent about everything that you're doing when you showed during the meeting that you're not transparent amongst yourselves as a group of 7 who are supposed to be leaders in our town.
Well, addressing the specific issue, we do have agenda meetings every other Wednesday, usually the week after we have a select board meeting. We generally in the past have had the clerk and the vice chair. The vice chair cannot attend those on a regular basis. So Ali, as the longest tenured board member remaining, was asked if she'd be interested in participating.
Excuse me?
That is what?
That's not true.
Dan can't make it. Kim can't. Kim is there. Who's the next longest tenured member?
That would be me.
No, Ali was on the board before you, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, under our rules of procedure, the chair sets the agenda with the town manager and basically the prerogative the chair has. So I've explained this to Lanny and to Rocket. Don't really know how else to answer your question, Mike.
Oh, I just found it interesting that 2 out of the 7 members were totally unaware of this. And you made a decision based upon your best interests of the town, but yet 2 members out of the 7 were totally unaware of it, meaning that you're not being transparent with each other, Mike.
Okay, thanks for your comment, Mike.
Oh,
there's the timer.
Thanks for your time.
Any more public comment on Zoom?
No other hands up.
Wait a minute. Okay. I want to address what Mike said. As far as I'm addressing you, Mr. Morris, in terms of what you said about the charter. There has been quite a bit of controversy that's come up about the addition in the charter of the town regulating rental housing. I spoke in favor of pulling the item out to have it a separate item because of the potential fallback that we would have from it. My other board members felt that they would be able to have it within the charter, and
2 members also did not. 2 members also asked to pull it out.
And the majority of the board voted to have the item be within the charter. So whether there's a conflict of interest in terms of renters versus owners, I can understand your point on that there would be concern for that on the part of citizens within the town of Hartford to vote on that. As far as the agenda setting meetings go, that's not a dead issue at this point. So thank you for your feedback on that.
Okay, any more hands on Zoom? Okay, we'll go to select board comments. Lanny?
I have none other than to thank the Department of Public Works, the road crews, for doing a great job with such limited staff to keep our roads clean and safe for our public.
Okay, Rocket, any comments?
Yeah, just wishing everyone safety over the snowstorm. I was not able to attend physically today because I was in Tokyo over the holidays and was at the airport when the airplane caught fire. So not my airplane, but got delayed, and that's why I'm not able to be present. So I apologize for that. It's an honor to serve, so thanks for having me.
Thanks, Rocket. Ali, any comments?
Yes, thanks for letting me attend on Zoom. Over the holidays, I contracted one of the various illnesses floating around. So I did want to just briefly acknowledge the events of this past Saturday, which a lot of folks maybe have already heard about, regarding the hoax bomb threats towards several individuals at Northern Stage, the White River Junction Planned Parenthood and Target in West Lebanon. And first, just wanted to thank our Hartford Police Department for responding swiftly and carefully to a tough situation, and also want to acknowledge how frightening it must have been for those individuals and organizations that were targeted, even though it was ultimately a hoax. I was actually at the evening performance at which there was also a hoax threat, and I only learned about it after the fact, so it was a bit terrifying to say the least. And it's particularly disturbing to me that Planned Parenthood, which provides such important healthcare services, and a drag story hour at Northern Stage, which is intended to be a positive, inclusive experience for children, that they were targeted. So there's no place for bigotry, hate, and fear stoking in our community or anywhere. And I hope that all of us can be part of talking to our neighbors, continuing to build trust across lines of difference, and counteracting hate whenever we see it, because everyone in our community deserves to feel safe and welcome. Thanks.
Thank you, Ally. Mary?
I just support what Ally just said.
Great. Dan, any comment?
I thank Ally for her comments and support them as well. Thank you.
Thank
Sure you, Dan.
What? What was that?
Can I make a comment?
No, Kim's making her comment, then we can get back to you. Kim?
You. I thought Dan was making a comment.
Dan just made his comment, I believe.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Listen.
Yes, also echo those sentiments. I wanted also just to echo John's comment about warrant information night. I'd like to just share all the town meeting dates and hope that the rest of the community continues to share with each other. So we know the warrant information night, Thursday, January 18th at the Hartford High School Auditorium, 6 o'clock. Budget and candidates night, Monday, February 26th at 7 o'clock at the Hartford High School Auditorium. That's the opportunity to hear from any candidates for school board and select board and library trustees, town moderator, etc., as well as ask any questions about the fiscal 25 budget that will be proposed. And then town and school meeting day at the Hartford High School Gymnasium on Saturday, March 2nd at 10 a.m. And then town meeting day, also known as voting day, please either in person or you can register, you can vote absentee early. The polls are open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Tuesday, March 5th. And then just briefly also, I would like to mention that I got to carpool to Montpelier with the town manager and Connie Kelly to attend the first session of the Welcoming and Engaging Communities cohort through VLCT, and looking forward to continuing on that journey with those two.
Thank you. Kim, did you have something?
Yeah, I want to comment on the statement that Ally made about the bomb threats at Northern Stage. While I am extremely disappointed that there would be bomb threats called into any facility within the town of Hartford, I think that's extremely wrong. I do take deference at it being labeled a positive experience, because it was not some people in our community would not view the events at Northern Stage as a positive experience. So that is a personal expression, and it is not shared by everyone on the board or by all the residents within the town. And as such, I don't think it's appropriate to make personal statements about whether it's positive or negative. Thank you.
Okay, and I would like to remind everyone that we are having hearings on the charter changes, both at the information night and at our January 23rd select board meeting and our February 6th select board meeting, where we'll have plenty of time to answer your questions, particularly about rental housing. All right, so we're done with that. We're going to get to appointments. We're not doing John Reid's appointment because we did not advertise it.
A glitch on our part, and we apologize for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to consider the reappointment of Dylan Kreis to Resilient Hartford for a 3-year term beginning January 9th, 2024 and ending January 8th, 2027. Dylan, as a reappointment, is not here. So if anyone would like to make a motion, go ahead, Mary.
Okay. I move that the select board reappoint Dylan Kreis to Resilient Hartford for a 3-year term beginning January 9th, 2024 and ending January 8th, 2027.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Kim will second. Any discussion? All right, I'll call the roll. Laney?
Aye.
Rocket?
Aye.
Ally?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Kim?
Aye.
And I will vote aye. All right, so we've made that reappointment.
There's a hand up. Heidi has her hand up.
Okay, quickly, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Heidi, go ahead.
Good evening. Excuse me.
Wait a minute, point of order.
What's
You have a motion and a second on the table.
No, we just.
Well, we just voted too.
Okay, that vote has been taken care of.
I know, but generally we let the public chime in if they have their hand up, so I don't see any reason to depart from that practice. Heidi, go ahead.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, Heidi Due to White River Junction. I just have one quick comment that I'd like to make. I believe that you, the select board, made a rule about individuals making applications that, I don't know how I want to say this. The references should not be town employees, committee members, or anyone connected to the town. And I just want to make a note that individuals that are making applications tonight and or have been postponed are still making that connection. This needs to be addressed moving forward. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Heidi. I know at one
Thank
point.
you.
Yep,
Thank you so much.
Yep, at one point, I think maybe a board member even objected to the fact that people like our treasurer or board members being listed as references. I don't think we ever decided that that was inappropriate. If we look at our appointment policy, I don't think there's anything in there about that. But thank you, Heidi. Our next item is to consider the reappointment of Laura Simon to Resilient Hartford for a 3-year term beginning January 9th, 2024 and ending January 8th, 2027. I will take a motion unless someone has comments. Mary?
I move that we reappoint Laura Simon to Resilient Hartford Selectboard. Appoints Laura Simon to Resilient Hartford for a 3-year term beginning January 9th, 2024 and ending January 8th, 2027.
Great, do I have a second?
Sorry, Mike and all, did we actually call the question on the first application? Did we actually vote?
Yeah, pretty positive we did, yeah.
Sorry, I'm sorry if I missed it.
No.
Was that a unanimous vote of?
That was a unanimous vote for Dylan Kreis. So we have a motion and a second for Laura Simon. Any discussion? Okay, I will call the roll. Hey.
Aye.
Rocket? Rocket, you available? Okay, I'm not hearing from Rocket, so we'll just we'll come back to him. Ally?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Kim?
Aye.
Rocket, are you back? Okay, I will vote aye, so we'll have a 6-0-1 on Laura Simon. All right, our final appointment is to consider appointing, not reappointing, appointing Richard Otis to the Energy Commission for a 3-year term, beginning January 9th, 2024 and ending on January 8th, 2027. I think Mr. Otis is present. Yeah, if you want to come up, just introduce yourself, your town and village of residence, and tell us about your interest in being on the Energy Commission.
Hi, my name is Richard Otis. I currently live in Wilder, Vermont. I moved here back in 2022, initially from Bradford, Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
I currently work for Novo Nordisk across the river in West Lebanon, New Hampshire. I'm one of their facility engineers. In particular, I'm also in charge of all their energy efficiency projects. For instance, I've worked on a renewable natural gas project that has reduced our site emissions by 60%, eliminating 4,600 some odd metric tons of CO2 from being emitted into the atmosphere every year. I worked on a chiller expansion project that has reduced our kilowatt usage from 15 million to about 13 million. I'm also working on a water reduction project, considering we use about 7.7 million gallons of water a year. And we're trying to reduce that year over year by about 2% in ways that we can actually reuse water in our processes rather than sending it all to a wastewater plant in Lebanon. I also coordinate a lot with some of my colleagues in Denmark. For instance, Novo Nordisk, for those of you who are not familiar, it's a large pharmaceutical company. They manufacture about 40% of the world's insulin, amongst various other rare diseases. As part of Novo Nordisk's general policies, they have a Circular for Zero structure for all of their environmental and sustainability initiatives. And I am involved in all of those policies made over in Denmark and trying to implement them into the United States at our current site. So for instance, like moving away from refrigeration, we currently use R134A and R404 and R410. But over in Denmark, for instance, they're moving away from refrigerants that have high global warming potential. So using things like propane, ethane, CO2, ammonia, and that's other expansions that I have to plan at my site as well.
Fantastic. Any questions for Mr. Rose? Yep.
Just thank you for
Yes.
bringing your expertise to share with us at the level over here.
Any other questions for Mr. Rose? Okay, well, I'll take a motion.
Did Ally have something she want to say?
No, I was thinking.
No.
I'll take a motion. There.
Okay, yes, I move that the select board appoint Richard Otis to the Energy Commission for a 3-year term beginning January 9th, 2024 and ending on January 8th, 2027.
Second.
We have a second from Kim. Any discussion? I'll call the roll. Lane?
Aye.
Rocket?
Aye, and my service cut out. I was putting the last one on Laura Simon. That was also an aye.
Yep, no, you're fading in and out, but so you voted on Laura affirmatively, it sounded like.
Affirmative for both, yes.
Okay, thank you. Ally?
Thank you.
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Kim?
Aye.
I will vote aye. Thank you very much for coming in, and looks like you'll be a great addition to the Energy Committee. So thanks very much. All right, with our newly revised schedule, we'll next hear from the town treasurer on business grant opportunities. So Joe, if you want to come up and just tell us what's on your mind.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Select Board. On January 22nd at the Cornerstone Community Center, State Representative Esme Cole and myself will be hosting the State Treasurer to give not only businesses, but individuals in the town opportunities to know about free money that we have that is from the state. It will be also about improving access to retirement funds. Also, there is an initiative that the treasurer is having about baby bonds to possibly break the cycle of poverty here in Vermont. And also, since the energy chair is here and our newly commissioned energy recipient is here as well, it will also have climate infrastructure financing that the municipality will be able to get. So I would encourage both citizens and businesses to attend this forum on January 22nd at 6 o'clock at the Cornerstone Community Center. And we'll have information going out not only through periodicals, but through our website, hopefully, town manager. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call me at my extension here at Town Hall.
Joe, any questions?
Any questions? Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Joe.
Appreciate it.
All right, so we're going to skip to item I. We've got Scott Fooney here. Consider the resolution of necessity for Firestation number 2 renovation project.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Back on December 19th, the board voted to propose to the voters a bond of $1.3 million for the renovation of the Queechee Fire Station. And since then, we've I've been working with Brian Monahan as our bond attorney for this process, and he put together the actual resolution that is required that the select board adopt in order to provide both what is occurring, the need for the bond, and to provide the language for the ballot within the resolution that you have in your packet. So I have that on my screen. I can share it if you want up on the board. I just need to be made a presenter and we can go through it, or you can adopt it, or however you'd like to proceed, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I just feeling I usually read these out loud, don't I? So I should probably read the resolution. Then we can have any questions and we can make a motion.
The only comment I have is in the second to last paragraph. We're required to hold a public information meeting in addition to the public information night we're having.
Yep.
And he has that as Saturday, March the 2nd, which is typically the other meeting that occurs in the town meeting cycle, but he did not indicate a time,
Yeah.
so the board would have to put the time.
That takes place, I think, at 10 o'clock in the morning.
That's what usually
Okay,
goes in.
so that would be the only addition to the, when you sign it up here, that is that somebody needs to add the 10.
Okay.
Oh, I saw this
10
earlier.
To the
right?
resolution.
I saw this earlier, but where, remind me again where it's at within the
It's on
packet.
page 164. Then it's the be it for it's the penultimate be it further resolved. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and read this. We generally have me read resolutions, so bear with me. Resolution of necessity for the fire station #2 renovation project, town of Hartford. Whereas at a meeting of the select board of the town of Hartford, Vermont, town held on January 9th, 2024, the select board determined that the public interest and necessity require that the town construct certain improvements to its existing fire station #2, located on Willard Road in Queechee. That's the project. Whereas the estimated total cost of the project is $1,300,000.00. Whereas the cost of the project after the application of available grants and aid, if any, was determined to be too great to be paid out of the annual revenue and available resources of the town. Now therefore be it resolved that general obligation bonds or notes of the town in an amount not to exceed $1,300,000.00 should be issued for the purpose of financing the project. And such question should be submitted to the voters at the annual town meeting to be duly warned and held for that purpose on Tuesday, March 5th, 2024. Be it further resolved that all acts relating to the proposition of incurring bonded indebtedness, the issuance of general obligation bonds or notes of the town for the purpose of constructing said improvements within the corporate limits of the town, be in accordance with the provision of Chapter 53 of Title 24 and Chapter 123A of Title 24A of the Vermont statutes annotated. Be it further resolved that the proposition of incurring general obligation bonds or notes for this purpose should be submitted to the qualified voters of the town as follows. Shall general obligation bonds or notes of the town of Hartford in an amount not to exceed $1,300,000.00 be issued under Chapter 53 of Title 24 Vermont statutes annotated, payable from net revenues derived from the town's general taxation of real property over a period not to exceed 30 years, and subject to reduction by available grants and aid or other funding sources, be issued to finance the cost of constructing certain improvements to its existing fire station #2, located on Willard Road in Queechee. Be it further resolved that a vote on said proposition be conducted by Australian ballot at the annual town meeting to be held on Tuesday, March 5th, 2024, at which meeting the polls will open at 7 a.m. and close at 7 p.m. Be it further resolved, the town will hold a public information meeting on Saturday, March 2nd, 2024 at 10 a.m. to discuss the bond issue proposition and explain the proposed project and the financing thereof. And be it further resolved that by this resolution of necessity for the project, the select board hereby ratifies and confirms the necessity of the project and confirms that the cost of the project is too great to be paid out of the town's ordinary annual income and revenue. So any questions on the wording of this? Any questions for Scott? Not, I will take a motion to adopt the resolution of necessity. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I move that the select board adopt the resolution of necessity for the fire station #2 renovation project in the town of Hartford.
Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Mary will second. Any discussion? Okay, I'll call the roll. Lanny?
Aye.
Rocket? Kim?
Aye.
And I will vote aye. All right, thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
All right, commission reports. Kim, you want to take us off? Do you have any?
Sure. Planning Commission met on December 18th to review 2 applications. One was from the town of Hartford School District for site development plan approval for a school educational building related to hours and programming on Christian Street in an agricultural overlay district in the R3 zoning district, which was approved unanimously. And a second application by Craft Studies, which is the owner, and Upper Valley Haven was the applicant for site development plan under section 260-45 for the Hartford zoning regulations for an emergency shelter at 608 North Main Street, White River Junction in the HCR zoning district, which was approved unanimously.
Thank you, Kim. Dan, do you have any commission reports?
No, Dana's here, so he always gives the Energy Commission report, and I have not received the latest notes from the tree board.
All right, thank you, Dan. Mary?
Yeah, Parks and Recreation, this was taken right after we did our budget, but it couldn't get into the select board meeting, and we're now here in January. So there's still 2 vacancies on Parks and Recreation. There were approximately 1,600 tickets sold for the Polar Express that Parks and Rec partnered with White River Junction Rotary. This event was held on December 9th and 10th with travel on the train from White River Junction to the North Pole in Norwich. There was a Skate with Santa event. Glow skatings have been held in collaboration with the Hartford Community Coalition. Public skating continues on Saturdays and Sundays. And I know this was mentioned previously, but it's still a pretty neat deal. This spring, an electronic messaging aboard approximately 72 inches by 50 inches will be displayed at Town Hall through use of encumbered funds. It will have images and rotating messages and will be Wi-Fi activated. This will enable the town to communicate many messages in a timely and attractive fashion. And last night, Hartford Conservation Commission, there are no vacancies on the Conservation Commission. Upcoming conservation events include a winter walk in the forest with Ted Levin on January 20th at 10 a.m. There's a new family-friendly event at the town forest on February 4th at 10 a.m. to introduce youngsters and their family to the enjoyment of the forest in the winter, led by Sky Claude, and the Hartford Stewardship Mix and Mingle on February 29th at Bugby at 6 p.m. with presentations by the Tree Board, Salamander Team, Climate Action Plan members, Garden Club, Resilient Hartford, Upper Valley Land Trust, VCE, VINS, and our own Conservation Commission and others. JAM will cover the event, videotaping it and putting it up on the website. And as stated previously, Great River Hydro is in the beginning stages of relicensing the Wilder Dam, as well as for Vernon and Bellows Falls. The public should contact the Conservation Commission with questions or comments.
Thank you, Mary. Ally, any commission reports?
Yes, so Hartford Committee on Racial Equity and Inclusion, the committee had more great discussion about its goals for 2024 in areas of recommendation, education and outreach, data and committee organization. And on the January 17th meeting, Julia Lau, who is the school district's equity coordinator, will be attending. So please attend if you're interested in connecting with her. And there's one committee vacancy. Resilient Hartford, there is a draft being developed that's based on feedback from the committee's December community discussion about the future of the Clifford Park Food Forest. So there's important revisions being planned around an enhanced riparian buffer along the White River to account for future flooding. And the committee is also looking to coordinate with the Conservation Commission, who is working on pollinator gardens in 2024. So they're hoping to thread that into the Clifford Park Food Forest. There's one committee vacancy on Resilient Hartford and Hartford Committee on Housing and Homelessness. The committee is working to schedule a meeting this month with the Norwich Housing Committee to see areas of collaboration. The Hartford Business Revolving Loan Fund members have been discussing the use of that fund and the Vermont Community Development Program Revolving Loan Fund to support accessory dwelling units and small scale multifamily developments, and want to be in collaboration with the committee about that. And there is one committee vacancy.
Thank you, Ally. Rocket, any commission reports?
Nothing to report.
All right, thank you. Lanny?
I have nothing.
Okay, Lanny Stanley, I don't have anything. So we will move on to the consent agenda. We'll take a motion. Good.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, there is a collection of 6 of them. I can read them for you if you'd like.
We have manifest of 1/5 and 1/11 here, and payroll ending 1/6.
Manifest from 1/5 and 1/9, as well as on the second one for 1/9. And one for 12/22.
Is the 1/9 ending is the actual, are the actual checks going up on the 11th? Like, I think the 1/9 might be the 1/11.
There's 2 for 1/9.
Are they the same?
No, they're not.
Okay. So maybe one's payroll and one's safety manifest?
One looks like external. They both look like external payables. One totals 164,000, the other is 180,000.
Right, I think those are the 1/11, though. They're dated the 9th. I think the checks are issued on the 11th.
Yep, they're dated 1/11, you're right.
Okay, so
Yep, and one was from
12/28.
Okay.
I think that's what I need to add.
Okay.
And that's a manifest?
Yep.
Okay. Pardon me, so.
There's 2 check registers as well.
Okay.
I think this is correct.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I move that the select board approve payroll ending 1/6/2024, AP manifests of December 28, 2023, January 5th, 2024, and January 11th, 2024. Unless that 28 is supposed to be, okay. And then also approve meeting minutes from December 19, 2023. And already approved select board meetings of January 23rd, 2024, February 6th, and February 20, 2024.
At this point, I should point out that Gail has suggested that you keep yourselves available for possible extra select board meetings, depending on petitions that could be submitted this time of year for both the 24th and the 25th. We'll let you know.
Sounds good. Do I have a
But we're not
second?
going to approve those at this.
No, if needed.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
Okay, Mary will second. Any discussion on this? Not all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so it's unanimous. I will take a motion to adjourn the select board meeting.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Second from Mary. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Thanks, everyone. Drive safe.
Signatures.
Yeah.